Welcome to the System Simplified podcast, where we feature top leaders who share stories on how to successfully systemize a business. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hello, Adi Klevit here with the System Simplified podcast, where we interview top entrepreneurs, founders, and thought leaders about systematizing a business. And this podcast is being brought to you by Business Success Consulting Group. At Business Success Consulting Group, we create custom processes and tailor-made business systems so businesses can thrive and grow. All right, and today's guest is Simon Severino. Hi, Simon.
Hey, Adi. Hey, everybody. Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome. I'm so excited to have you. And Simon is the founder and CEO of Strategy Sprints. And I'm so excited to talk to you today, Simon, because I've been following you. I've been getting your emails. So for our listeners, after you hear Simon, you can definitely get on his email list. He sends those cool videos with tips about how to strategize and how to build your business and how to basically 10x your business. It's all about 10xing. And Simon, I think you'll do better than me in explaining exactly what you do. So I'll let you do that.
Thank you, Adi. Yeah, I'm Simon Severino. I'm based in Vienna. I am the founder of Strategy Sprints, and we are a consultancy, and we help people improve go-to-market, mainly sales and operations, and how these things really interplay. And I'm doing only these things since 20 years. And 3.5 years ago, I fired myself from operations. And since then, I'm only the CEO. I'm not in delivery mode anymore. So you cannot book me as a coach, but I have a global set of coaches that are certified Strategy Sprints coaches. And we meet every Monday. And that's mainly what I do.
That's great. So how does the strategy sprints came about? How does that methodology came about?
I was frustrated with the many go-to-market strategies not working. My own ones, my clients' ones. And so I had to solve one problem after the other. The sales problem, the marketing problem, the client onboarding problem. For some things, I found really good tools. I just collected them over time. And for some of them, I found nothing. So I had to build it. And entrepreneurs, we build stuff. If we miss something, we build it. That's how I roll. And so I built it for me. And when it was working, somebody was asking, hey, wow, you have a cool JV system template. Can I have that? And
JV,
I was like, ooh.
So that's joint venture.
For example, the joint venture system, they were like, oh, that's cool. Can I have that? And I was, okay, this one is working. And so they asked for the next one. Oh, you have a cool how to niche down system. Can I have that? And so I was like, all right, people like the tools and we have some good tools. And so whatever they started asking for, I put in a place like an online course, right? I put it there with the spreadsheet on it and the doc and the video. And so month by month, there were more tools in there. And now it's 274 of these tools. And it's called the Sprint University. And this is what we share with our clients so that they can move forward faster with their go-to-market activities.
Excellent. Okay, so let's start diving into that sprint strategy or strategy sprints, right? So you are writing a book. You showed it to me before the podcast. Let's show those that are viewing. Okay, so it's called Strategy Sprints, Simon Severino, 12 ways. So it's basically the 12 different ways that your methodology works. And when can we actually get a hold of that book?
It's coming out in February. It will be launched at the Growth Festival, which happens January 22 and 23. So the Growth Festival is 2 days of 9 amazing masterclasses on the hard problems that we all need to solve. How to do sales, how to do marketing, how to do operations, all that stuff. And so there is a masterclass each. And for the participants of the Growth Festival, we send them all this book. So it's an experience and they get the book. And in the book, I'm sharing my 12 main systems. So my sales system, my marketing system, my operations system, my hiring system, my firing system, my joint venturing system, and all the core building blocks of our business strategy sprints, because it's exactly the same. So what we use is the same thing that we share our clients, who are consultancies themselves and SaaS companies. And so they are also B2B providers. So we share the same things that's working with us this week. That's exactly what we share. We would never share something that we are not using this week. And so we know that it works. We share it. Everybody grows.
Fantastic. So that growth festival, first of all, when is it and where is it?
So it's online. So it comes to you. And it's at strategysprints.com/growth-festival. That's where it happens. And it's happening January 22 and 23. But everybody can really rewatch it also at their time. So, but it starts there. And it's 2 days and nine amazing people. We have Perry Marshall talking about how he does stuff. And Rita McGrath talking about how to see around corners, Anthony Iannarino, how to close the deal. Amazing lineup. I've been learning so much already from that. I'm really excited about these 2 days.
That's incredible. Okay, go. So we have the growth, just so I know when it is. That's great. And then, okay, so let's talk about the 12 ways to strategize, right? So let's name them first. So you named some of them, but I was counting, I think we'll stop at 6. So let's name them from the beginning. So the first one is...
Yeah, the 12 main problems that everybody has. We have the problem that we have to attract people. So, hello, here I am. There is a system for that. Then the next thing is when they see us, right? We have to say, this is what you can get. This is a taster. Look, this is how it tastes. Taste. So that's that system. And then the next thing is, oh, you like it. This is where you can get more. For that, you need a system. And then you need a system to collect the payment. And then you need a system to onboard the clients, to make the first 10 days a wow experience. It's really important, the first 10 days. And then it's important to deliver exactly what you promised and a little bit more. So you need a system to keep the energy high during the project. Call it project management, but the advanced one, it raises energy during the work and not just it drains, like most projects. And then at the end, you need a system that retains those people. So, hey, you came for this solution. Stick around for the community, or stick around for the, client loyalty programs or whatever you have as a retainment system. And then afterwards, you need a referral system. So, hey, wow, you quadrupled your business in 3 months with us. Who else does need this? Who should I talk to? That's the client referral system. And you need a hiring system, firing system, and a system to keep mindset high. Let's call it culture or mindset. You need something for your team, that the meetings are crisp and who are the right people to attract.
Excellent. Wow, that definitely covers a lot here. Can I pick a system and we can talk about it?
Yeah.
All right. I want to talk about the referral system, because I think that will definitely interest our audience. And I've done one podcast in terms of retaining the existing clients, but I don't think we touched about referrals. And I think this is a very interesting topic for a lot of people. So can you tell us a little bit more about your system, about your referral system?
Yeah. So we use 3 referral systems. One is the client referral. Get referrals from your clients. But you cannot rely just on that system, because that will make, 3%, 5% of your referrals. You cannot leave from that. You shouldn't. You need a second referral system, which is colleagues referral system. Build your referral team of partners that are similar to you, have the same target group, but different offers, and you cross-promote each other, like via email or webinars or having them talk in your community, etc. That's what we call small joint ventures. And then the third system is have 1 or even 2 per year joint venture partners who are big players in your industry. And why only 1 or 2? Because it takes a lot of time to nurture that key account system. And so, for example, our current Google partner this year is Google. And so it took me 16 months to get this joint venture up and running. Every year, some people change in some of their countries, and then you have to meet the new team. So it's a lot of work to keep that going. But when it goes, and so once a quarter, they do a webinar on their YouTube channel, and then they say, hey, grow with Google. And if you want to grow, you have to do a 90-day strategy sprint. Here come the sprinters. So at the end, the 16 months was worth it because we get a ton of action going there. But it takes you 16 months. So also that is not one thing I would like to rely on. But with 3 referral systems, now you have a nice trilogy of referrals. The client referral system is how can you make it easy and ideally automated that you don't have to think about it, but at the right point of the experience with you, because there is a right timing to ask. At the right time, you ask everybody, hey, how is working together? What's not working well? What should I improve? What's working super well? How am I changing your business and maybe even your life through this? And who else does need this? And in between, we ask from 1 to 10, how likely is it that you're going to refer to us? The NPS question.
Net promoter score.
Yeah, it's question 4 out of 5 that we use. And we send it automatically every 30 days to all our clients because our work cycles, our sprints are always 90 days. So we have 3 times the moments when we ask them. And the good thing about automating is you don't have to think about it. So it just happens, and sometimes they say 8 and they say 9. Okay. But if they say 10 and, then we call them and say, oh, cool. Who should I call? And then they give you 3 names. And these people are people that we are going to inform. Either they connect us via email or we call them directly. And that's pretty cool because that creates some additional conversations and some additional business.
For sure. So when you say you ask them at the right time, so is that the right time you were mentioning that when they give you a 10?
The right time is when the energy is highest in your scheme of things. So in ours, it's 90 days and they have to do specific things. And so after 30 days, we have unlocked 10 to 14 hours of their time. So they're absolutely high because they say, oh my God, I have my life back. And now you ask them, how are you doing? And they go, amazing. Everybody should do this. My friends need this. So after 60 days, we have unlocked the sales engine. So they have now a sales workflow that works without them and referral teams that do work for them. So they're high again. And so we ask here, by the way, what's working? Oh my God, my sales is so much better. Okay, who else does need this? Everybody needs this. You have to talk to this. You have to talk to that. And after 90 days, then we have improved their marketing. So now many more people have conversations. So their deal flow has much, much more going on at the beginning of the pipeline. And so they're high again. And so we ask them again, hey, what's working? And they go, oh my God, my marketing is so much better. So that's why for us, these are the 3 points, because this is where stuff happens in our case. You have to look, whoever is listening right now, you have to think about what's your delivery process and where are some key points where you are having really good results and they are high, because they are not high all the time. They are only high and really in love with you after amazing results. And you will not have amazing results all the time. But at some point, and you know these points, and if you don't know, well, then ask your clients. They know. So find these points and create a system that makes it easy for you, ideally automated, to ask at these inflection points.
Good. So basically, we have 2 things here. I just wanted to clarify, and it's great advice, Simon. Just shows how much you know and how you convinced me for sure. You helped your clients. I'm sure our audience is convinced as well. So we have those 3 points where, like, you have those milestone deliverables after months 1, months 2, months 3 for you, because, and as you said, our listeners needs to actually look at their own delivery cycle and say this point or this point or this point, my clients are going to get amazing results. let's ask who else, right? It's kind of like going to the restaurant and getting like this amazing dessert. You're going to go and ask after they finish the dessert, right? Or maybe in the middle.
Exactly.
So they're not too full,
Exactly.
right? They're not like feeling, oh, I ate too much, now I'm feeling guilty. Like, so when they take the first 2 bites and they go, this is heavenly, this is when we ask. So you ask them, but you said, so you ask them automatic. Do you pick up the phone and ask, or do you actually send them an email and ask?
I think both are valuable options. We send an email. It's an automated email. Every 30 days, ask everybody. That's our system.
But when you ask, you don't
questions.
necessarily just ask for referral. You ask for how they're doing, right? It's more like a quality control survey with a net promoter score, meaning like on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to refer to us? So you actually hear from them how they're doing. So, and I would assume that it has different purposes. It also gives you the ability to figure out your quality control, because that's a system as well. You need to know how people are doing. And, I heard one of my clients once told me, and I think it's very true, is that you have to be able to embrace what they say. Even if they say bad things, embrace it, because otherwise it will just continue to go like that. And you will never correct and you will never improve. So the perception of the client, assuming that you're actually attracting the right clients and you have the ideal client and you're working with your clients, the perception is everything. They have to perceive they're getting a wow effect, not just you thinking, right?
Super important. Yes. And so the pure NPS system is just the referral question. So for us, we have baked it into, as you call it, and I think it's the right way to call it, a quality control loop. Because of course you need all these loops, and we are all about having loops in there to learn from what's going on. Latest every 30 days. We want loops every 7 days, and ideally every day if we can. Wherever we can, we build learning loops in there. So yeah, the 5 questions that we ask is, what's working really well? What's missing? What's not working so well? How likely is it that you refer to us? And what else do you need? These are our 5 questions.
I think it's awesome. Years ago when I was working it was an international consulting firm. One of the key things that we did, the same thing, is send that, a letter, it was then in the mail and then we went into email. But
even better.
It was, yeah, because it's easier sometimes that you just even answer your email if you have like a self-stamped envelope. You just like sit down and write. Sometimes for some people it's easier, and it gave us a lot of insight. We were able to improve our service, but also gave a lot of opportunities for referrals and also opportunities for additional services. Because what else do you need? They tell you, because now, like maybe they came to you because they need more clients, or they need more patients, so they need more customers, right? But you handle that for them. Now they can actually see better, and they go, you know what I really need is I need a training program for my office manager, or sometimes they will say, what else do you have, right? Because they go, oh, this was so good, I want more. So I totally agree that is super important. So that's great system for existing clients, right? Anything else that you do in order to get referrals from existing clients?
No, that's it.
That's it.
And that's it. And we think a lot, and I think you have heard it between the lines that we think a lot about these core 90 days and how we can make them better, and we're improving them every week. And we only do this thing. We don't have any other offer. That's our offer. 90 days, we double your revenue, we improve your operation and sales. That's the only thing that we do. And that's the reason why we stick to having only one offer, because we want to improve it every week. Otherwise, you cannot make sure that every 30 days you have some reliable results, unless you really refine, listen, implement over every week, over many years. And that's the reason why it's a good idea to focus on not offering many services, but just having one and really do that well. And if that brings many millions per year, then you might think about starting a second one, but not before.
I love that idea. And I know that's part of, again, I've been following you, and part of the video is like, niche it down, like really, and you help people do that. Because honestly, Simon, you are so generous. If people actually just listen to your videos and apply them, they would have the method. Honestly, this is you. I mean, I know a lot of us, will need a coaching and accountability just because we have all the noise, or not even noise, like all this activity or business or whatever, whether good or bad. But just by listening to you, you're giving it all away. You're actually applying what you tell people to do. It's all out there. You are giving it out there. So definitely people should follow you. So this is a good point to stop for a second and tell us what's the easiest way to follow you?
So we hang out at strategysprints.com. This is where you find the tools.
So strategysprints.com. Okay, good.
That's where you find the tools and then all the main things. I have also a daily YouTube channel called Simon Severino, where I share also all my systems. Right now, I'm sharing my revenue systems, saving systems, investment systems, because it's time for that. We live in inflation and in macroeconomic shifts that nobody really knows how to use and manage and protect. So I want right now everybody to be protected against inflation and debasement. And so I'm sharing everything that I'm doing with my own wealth, not to lose it. And I'm sharing because, of course, I build systems out of that, right? I do not just buy Bitcoin and then hold it. It's an investment system. I think about how to systemize that. And so what's the portfolio allocation system? What is my system for picking assets? What's my due diligence system for checking assets before I buy them? What is my system for rebalancing? How often do I rebalance? Based on which numbers? These are all systems. And since I'm building them for myself, I share them with the community. I'm an open source guy. Some people say it's naive. I don't think so. I think this is smart. Actually, this is strategic. And I've learned this from Elon Musk, who was always open source, always. I've learned this from the Balance Scorecard people who were always open source. And if you look at the results, my goodness, Balance Scorecard and Elon Musk's project. Yes, if that's being naive, let's be naive.
Exactly. Well, I can describe it in a lot of ways. Naive would not be one of them, but that's good. Okay. That's an excellent advice. And definitely I would recommend people to subscribe to your YouTube channel and go to strategysprints.com and listen to you and the wealth of information. So now let's go back, because what we are doing right now, I really like it because we are building a system on how to get referrals, right? And, I'm all about documenting processes and procedures. And this is one that is right there. You're giving us the story on how to do that. So number one was get referrals from your existing clients. Number two is create that sphere of influence and a smaller joint venture with colleagues that you both serve. So let's say you and I, we both serve the same industry, but I do different things. You concentrate on the strategic sprint. I go in there and dive and write their processes and procedures and help them actually create the training manuals. So you recommend to do that. I work with those entrepreneurs that don't have the time to do that. So all they want is to download and being asked questions, and then we create a system. So we are great referral partners for each other, right? And we're collaborating right now. We're doing a podcast together. I'm going to be on your podcast. Great example, right? You reached out to me. I believe somebody reached out to me via LinkedIn and told me, hey, you need to meet with Simon. We connected. We are both from Mediterranean countries. So we had like this amazing connection. We go like, yes, we want to work together. And here we're doing a podcast. So what will be the system of finding those individuals? Like, what would you say? What are some of the steps in order to create that collaboration?
Yeah, as you have said, somebody reached out. So that's a system. That's a reach out system. And so I think we have 4 or 5 reach out systems. One system is bring the coolest people onto my show. And it's, I don't know, 5 or 6. It's, I think, 5 or 6 steps. And that's how you got onto our show. 5, 6 steps. This is how you research the coolest people. These are the criteria for the coolest people. This is how you find out what the right people are to pick. This is what you send them. This is what you do after it, etc. So it's just 6, 7 steps. Get the coolest people on my show.
So
it's a system.
Have a show, because that's a system for me. I mean, I want to give here a shout out to Rice25, to Jeremy and John that got me. They're producing my podcast, but they have that system. They got me onto this system of a podcast where I love it because it's the best way to network, because you meet the coolest people. And you get to ask those questions and really get, like right now, I'm getting a lesson on how to get referrals, which I'm going to definitely apply to my own business and use it for my clients and from our listeners. So that's a benefit by itself, right? But then it becomes this cool thing to do. So having a show is probably, first of all, having a podcast, get people on your podcast. Okay, good. But let's say you don't have a podcast, you're not up to it right now. What other methods will be to actually collaborate?
So, for example, one method that everybody can do in my Calendly. So when people book time with me, whatever it is, there is one question that says, if we meet in a year from now with a bottle of champagne, what are we celebrating? That question, first, it's fun to ask and people like that question. But then also they are telling you what they are working on. So you know what success looks like for them in a year. So the basis of a collaboration system is listen. Listen to what they're up to and what's next for them. And then if you want to be a pro, you have a CRM system where you store that, because if you have hundreds or thousands of conversations, you might forget that. So I forget stuff. That's why I have a CRM system that reminds me. And it says, oh, look, Peter wanted to celebrate his first book in a year. It's now 10 months later. Simon, get him on your show and promote his book. So that's what I would do. And then we have a second contact point, right? And if Peter likes the way I promote his book on my show, then afterwards we might talk about he joining our mastermind. That's how you can build up the relationships that become more energetic, more intense over time. These are the ones that get more offers, and the conversation gets more intense, and you go further into enhancing that relationship. That for me is sales, enhancing relationships.
Absolutely. So do you ask that question on the celebrating for just podcast guests or for everybody that you meet with?
Everybody. So depending on what the meeting is, but every meeting type, there is the hiring type, somebody is interviewing to work with us, or there is a coffee with Simon type, or as be on our show type, or I am on your show type of format on Calendly. But most of them have one question around, actually every single one of them has one question around what's top of mind for you, what's next for you, what's your vision in 1 year, because I am interested in that. Really, I want to know that from my friends, from everybody that I meet. I want to know, hey, what's important for you and what are you up to?
Right. So it's basically when you're creating that sphere of influence, the people that are like-minded, let's take this example just because it's a live example, right? So how often would you stay in touch with me in order to collaborate or in order to basically nurture that relationship? And would it be just, well, let's say first of all, this one in terms of the system, like how often would you swing back and stay in touch with me?
So I have a CRM that has a little bit of an AI in it, because it's like an assistant. It reminds me. It says, hey, Simon, Peter told you that in 6 months he has this launch. Now it's 4 months. Follow up. And so in the morning, I get a briefing. It says, this is your day, Simon. You have to remind Peter. You have to answer that email. You have to go into this meeting. You have to prepare this kind of thing. It's like an assistant reminding me, because I'm a creative guy. I go with my intuition and with the weather and with how I feel. And so the systems for me, they balance, they counterbalance my being, and together we are great. I go intuitively, and my systems remind me of stuff.
I love that. That's actually a great way to put it. It's, because I run across a lot of creative people that say, well, I don't want to have systems in my business, right? Because it's against my intuition. It's just like what you said, but you get that beautiful balance because that's what moves you forward. So basically, to answer the answer to the question is, you're going to follow up as when there are milestones that you heard from that person telling you. So if I told you, okay, Simon, in a year from now, I want to publish a book. So you're going to go, okay, so your system will remind you maybe 10 months down the road, hey, Adi, I'm just curious, is your book up for maybe pre-sale or something like that? I mean, that's what I would do probably. Like, can I check it out? Like, you told me your book is in February. I'm definitely going to reach out in January. Simon, can I get the book? I want to read that book. So different methods like that, where you create that communication, but without really imposing. And it's a meaningful communication because I'm interested in you, right? So did I get that right?
Absolutely. I have learned that follow-up is the most important thing. And I think every high performer out there, every person who runs an impactful business, they have learned over time that follow-up is the most important thing. Maybe in the first years, we think it's boring or mechanic or whatever we think. But latest, after 1 decade in business, you learn that follow-up, that's the game. Yes, it's the nitty-gritty. It's not strategy, it's tactics, it's daily grind. But yeah, this is where results happen. That it's the daily small things, and doing them and not jumping to the next thing before that is done. And yes, my relationship enhancement system, which is basically my sales system, is exactly that. So I discipline myself to be vulnerable, to share more of what I have, not to hide and be analytical, etc. No, this is here. This is where I am. This is what I got. Want to be friend?
Yeah, it is not. No, they're not your friends. It's totally okay. There are so many. I mean, what I really like about you as well is like you have that abundance mentality. It's kind of like, hey, if it's not you, it's okay. We're not a good fit. Let's move on. So you said 5 things for the building the center of influence. So you told me like who can be on my podcast, which will be one thing. And I'm glad I made it to that list. Number 2, what will be the 2, 3, 4, and 5?
So what are our outreach systems? Let me think. We have an outreach system that says, bring people who were on our website and clicked more than 60% of everybody else clicked today.
Okay.
So it measures how much they click and how long they're on the website and if they read more, etc. And the system says, bring them on my calendar. I want to talk to these people.
Good.
So
it's a good one.
And it's a whole system of, calling them, getting them on the calendar, preparing them for the call, maximizing ROI on their call. So it's a full set of things. Then we have, what else? Outreach system do we have? We have this system that says, bring people to our events, because we have events every 14 days. And they are around, solving some sales marketing problems. And so one system is create the event, prepare the event, set up the event. The other system is bring cool people into this event.
So we're talking about center of influence. You're not necessarily talking. So you're basically, let's say, are the events online?
Online.
Yeah. So you will invite, let's say, for instance, for me, like strategy coaches like yourself, or culture coaches are great referral source because we work together like systems and culture. So I would say, Simon, I'm doing this event. Come on over and listen to me talk. So that way you can, what will happen is you will hear me, my credibility will go up, and then you go, oh yeah, I think I can collaborate, or I can have clients to send, right? That's the whole idea.
Yes, exactly. And then what else? Outreach system we have. We have Get Simon on Podcasts is one system.
That's right. That's how you got on this one. That's right. Excellent.
Yeah, so these are all outreach systems.
That's excellent. Okay, those are really good systems. So we covered the first one, which is basically getting the referrals out of your existing clients. Second is basically creating this outreach. So you are reaching to like-minded colleagues or business people so they can refer to each. So there is a referral, a back and forth referral. Then the number 3 would be they're collaborating, or the joint venture with those that are more successful than you are, or bigger than you are, or whatever you want to call it. But those that are basically, it's like the networking app, right? As opposed to level. The number two is basically your peers or somebody who's even a little bit more successful and you kind of like work together. This is like the Googles of the world, right? Or the whomever, whatever your, it's like being invited to, I don't know, being on whatever TV show or big conference and whatnot. That's like the networking up part of it. And it took you 16 months to get basically hooked up with Google, but now it worked. So any advice, that you can give in terms of like, what are some of the tips to actually reach out to those people and get accepted, other than persistent and time and don't give up?
I think the first obstacle to overcome is your self-judgment. If I remind myself of the first email that I sent, oh my God, I delayed it, procrastinated. I was so anxious. What if there is a small typo in there? I cannot send this. And the second, so in my case was, I don't want to send something that has a typo. That was my personal blockage. So find your personal blockage. It seems to me that many people have a blockage that says, if you boast too much, then you're a bad person. Like, you shouldn't be so proud of your offerings. Something like that. Let's call it a little bit religious like that, right? You shouldn't be so proud. That's boasting. You don't do that. So what if we take out that edge of judgment and instead say, I have something very valuable to offer, and it's my responsibility to let the people know. And so when you say, it's my responsibility to let the people know, you're not pushing anything on anybody. You are just informing, and give them the chance, if they don't want it, to get out. And give them the chance, if they need it, that they can say yes. So I would remove this form of self-sabotage and instead create a small momentum forward of you just telling every day the world, hey, this is what I see. This is what I can help solve. And so become a little bit the teacher of your area, because if you have something to say and if you're the expert, please say it. And if you have nothing to say, shut up. But if you have something to say, please say it. Otherwise, people don't know.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's a great advice. And then just communicate, and persist. And silence means nothing. It's like if you don't get a response. I mean, I actually learned that from Grant Cardone in one of his books. He said, if you don't get a response, don't start thinking, oh, they don't like. All it means that you didn't get a response. That's really what it means. You don't get a response, meaning you didn't get a response. So then you have to decide, okay, what's my next move? You either decide to quit and not do it, or you can communicate. You communicate 16 times. It's okay. Finally, at least somebody gives you, shut up and don't communicate to me anymore. Okay, I got a response. Yay. But people liked the communication. So I appreciate that advice. And, it also applies to the first one when we talked about getting referrals from your existing clients. What I noticed, that's the hardest one, because it's kind of like hard to go to your own clients, although you did a fantastic job, and then ask them, who else do you know, right? Do you encounter that with your clients when you give them that advice?
Yes, many times they go, ooh, I don't have the courage to ask. So there's a whole chapter in this book. It's called Feedback is the Breakfast of Champions. That's the NPS chapter in this book. Because, and that's why I frame it that way. Feedback is the feedback is the breakfast of champions. Because as you say, it's about quality control loops. And nothing on this planet which is working well is lacking quality control loops. Nature is full of quality control loops. Everything that's working is full of quality control loops. And if you have quality control loops, you are now based on reality and on real information. That's why it's resilient. It's based on truthfulness. It will grow. It will become stronger and better. But at the beginning, many people are really afraid. And we had a client once, he said, what if I send it and I get no response? because he had 100 clients. And so he said, what if I send 100 emails and I get 0 response? And I said, yeah, then I wasn't smart like Grant Cardone to say, well, then it's just no response. I said, well, then you have to call them.
No, I mean, it's not that Grant is saying not to call them. It just don't go into your own, like, oh, they didn't respond to me. So that means they don't like me or they don't know. It's just like you got no response. So now what's the next follow-up? Yeah.
Then call them, because it's about the conversation. It's about showing that you really care, that you are a partner and not just a supplier, not just somebody that does stuff for them, but does things with them. Hey, we are partners. I want you to win, and that's why I deliver. And so his anxiety behind that sentence was, what if they don't perceive me as really caring and therefore not answer? Which then exactly happened. So I think one of these 100 answered. And then we had another underlying bottleneck. Now we found, we are not really in a trustful relationship here. And then, all the tactics mean nothing if you don't have that in place first. So the first thing is literally call them. How are you doing? How can I help? Do you need something? Anything else that you need? That's the first thing to do, because that's the loop around everything to collect data upon. But if you don't have a trustful relationship in the first place, so if I have just some supplier that I'm working with, I don't know, somebody who is a supplier that I have really no relationship with, a utility company, I don't know, they're bringing energy like light. I don't care who's bringing the lights. I just want my lights to be on, right? So if they ask me, hey, how is it going? What else do you need? I don't answer that thing. They're not my partner. They don't care. I don't care. Just give me lights. But if it's a B2B business, then we are partners in crime, right? We all want to succeed. And so we are talking to B2B businesses here. So Google and Strategy Sprints, we want small businesses to grow. That's what we both want. And when we show up with that intention, we get it across. And if we ask feedback in that webinar, we are getting feedback. But if I am just a utility provider in terms of I don't really care, and then I send you an email, you will not waste your time answering that email. Why should you? You will only do it if you think, hey, they really read it, they really think about it, and they quickly implement what I write.
Right.
Otherwise, why should you answer that email?
That is so true. That is so true. One of the things that I was thinking about in terms of the survey is it's also good, in my opinion, to tell the client, like when you're onboarding a client, I mean, I'm sure you do that, but it's kind of like telling them to expect that, look for that email. And telling them that, if you're not going to answer that email, I will call you. So the expectations are there. It's not just something that nobody answers, but I really look at it and I take action. So please answer that email. In my opinion, it's also better coming from somebody else from the team. So they have a separation. If you are a small company, you have to do it yourself, but it's probably better coming from somebody else, not a consultant that is working, because it's kind of like, it's hard to say that, right? It's hard to, sometimes you don't want to hurt people's feelings, or you feel like that person helped you, but you don't want to say that but because they help you so much. And anyway, whatever. But I think it's good to separate.
Yes, create a space where they really can air everything. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. A safe space. I agree 100%, because that way it's really safe. Simon, this is a wealth of information. We actually identified the exact, the step-by-step on how to get referrals in your business. And there are 11 more. I want to hear about each and every one of them. Maybe I'll have you as a guest for 11 more episodes, because I'm really curious about your joint venture one, marketing, operations. The firing one sounds interesting. The hiring, all of them sound amazing. So I'm sure if our listeners go to strategiesprints.com, they can subscribe. They will hear a lot more. And I'm definitely going to have you back as a guest, because this has been amazing conversation. And anything else you want to say about getting referrals and that particular chapter before we end here?
Yeah, if also listeners are saying, hey, what about the other 11? You can come to the Growth Festival in January. It's strategysprints.com/growth-festival. Or as Adi said, you can subscribe to our newsletter, and I will remind you of the Growth Festival. I promise.
That's right, because you definitely, that's another system that you have, how to acquire, and you do it really well. So it's always good to learn from the master. So that's awesome. They definitely need to subscribe to that. So thank you very much for being such an amazing guest and sharing your knowledge. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you, Adi. Thank you, everybody. Keep rolling.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to the System Simplified podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.